Across several cultures, the spring equinox time was acknowledged as the new year because it makes sense for all the reasons that we just listed, and it allows humans to live in natural rhythm with the universe, with nature, which is how we are meant to live, because when we live in alignment, we can live in our power. Welcome to Ebbs and Flows with Erin. In this show, we're getting real about navigating the ups and downs of life together. I'm your host, Erin, and we're ditching the pressure to have it all figured out along the way because honestly, nobody does. We'll explore all things healing, growing, creating, and connecting. And if you deal with anxiety, depression, being a highly sensitive person, or just feeling overwhelmed by life sometimes, I see you, and this show is for you. My intention with these conversations is simple: to leave you feeling empowered, validated, and most importantly, reminded that you are never alone, no matter where you're at on your own journey. Learning that we all have the power to heal genuinely changed my life. And the best part, healing does not have to be complicated. The smallest changes really can make the biggest impact, and it can be joyful, fulfilling, and something that we do together. So join me in getting real about what it means to heal. Thank you for being here, and now let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to Ebbs and Flows with Erin, or welcome back to Ebbs and Flows with Erin. I'm your host, Erin, and whether you are listening or watching today, I am grateful to have you as always. In today's episode, we are talking about why spring equinox is the true mark of the new year and how you can do spring cleaning of the soul, letting go of what no longer serves you as we move into this season, and how you can declutter your mind, your body, and your energy to make the most of this transition into this new season and living in alignment with your natural rhythms and the natural rhythms of nature. And I'm really excited to talk about this topic, which I probably say for a lot of these episodes, but this one I find so interesting. The more that I look into it, the more I am convinced that we have simply been lied to for our entire lives when it comes to the new year and what the true mark of the new year is. And we will get into why that is. So, why is spring equinox the true mark of a new year? Well, on the equinox specifically, there is an equal balance of day and night. So this marks a time energetically of balance, alignment, renewal. And this is also the time where nature is starting to awaken and blossom and come back alive. Plants are starting to blossom and bloom. Animals are coming out of hibernation. Nature is awakening, and so are we naturally. And so I found it very interesting in my research that the Gregorian calendar, which is the calendar we follow now, was created in 1852 by Pope Gregory the 13th. And before this calendar year was created, across several cultures, the spring equinox time was acknowledged as the new year because it makes sense for all the reasons that we just listed, and it allows humans to live in natural rhythm with the universe, with nature, which is how we are meant to live, because when we live in alignment, we can live in our power. So it is said that one of the reasons for creating the shift in the Gregorian calendar was to take away humans' power, take away our living in alignment, and throw us off. So take with that what you will. But it's also said that that is the reason that April 1st is called April Fool's Day, because April 1st was often looked at as the New Year's Day, as opposed to January 1st. When the Gregorian calendar was introduced, switching to January 1st, anyone who continued to celebrate April 1st as New Year's Day was called an April Fool, because the elites or the higher powers wanted people to start obeying the Gregorian calendar and observing January 1st as New Year. It is also said that this was to make Easter fall in alignment with the spring equinox. I'm not entirely sure, but from what I have learned in my brief research, many people agree that this was created to take humans out of living in alignment because we are easier to influence and control when we are not living in alignment. So there's that. But before I even knew of the history of the new year truly being observed at spring equinox, It was along my holistic healing journey in the depths of it a few years ago where I started learning about the power and the benefit of living in alignment with nature's seasons, the natural rhythm of the seasons, and that allows you to live in alignment with yourself and your natural rhythms. On top of learning about astrology and how the astrological new year begins with Aries around the time of the spring equinox, all of these things including just how I naturally feel during spring equinox or March, April time compared to January, the dead of winter. This is a reason that the stat is, I think, 85% of New Year's resolutions fall flat by February 1st. We talked about this again in my intentions versus resolutions episode in January. This is a reason why, because naturally, the dead of winter, especially following the overstimulating, overwhelming holiday season, is not the time where we have the capacity to become anew and blossom and awaken and step into motion. It is a time where we are naturally supposed to be slowing down, resting, being more introspective, laying down groundwork, and planning for the things that you do want to do when the springtime comes around. But you cannot tell me that January makes sense to be the mark of our new year. It just doesn't make sense. So I just find this empowering information to know, because if you pay attention to your own instincts and what naturally your body is calling for you to do throughout the seasons, you probably will be pointed in this direction anyways, and you can do with it what you will. But it's empowering to kind of challenge what you've been told and lean into living in alignment with what you naturally feel in your body and your mind and your soul, your energy levels. Listen to that, lean into living in alignment with that, in alignment with nature. Because whenever we're looking to nature to live in alignment with the rhythms of nature, we can't go wrong. Because you can't argue the universe and nature. We did not create the universe, we did not create nature. And so this calendar was man-made, was created, that we follow. So I find this very interesting. I hope you find it as interesting as I do. Again, do whatever you want with this information. But I know for myself, doing my internal spring cleaning, marking this time of year as the new year, has been beneficial along my healing journey to allow me to live more in alignment with myself. And again, when we are in alignment, we are in our power and our energies are balanced. We aren't fighting our energies when we are living in alignment with our natural rhythms. So let's move into spring cleaning for the mind, body, and energy, how you can declutter your mind, your body, and your energy, because this is a very powerful time to do so. You want to release and reset so that you can step into renewal and make the most of this next year, this next season. Okay, number one, decluttering the mind, because mental clutter keeps you stuck in old patterns and prevents you from growth or healing that you're looking for. And this can be hard to overcome because a lot of the time, the repeated thoughts that we're thinking that are keeping us stuck are not even conscious. They are subconsciously being fed to us. But we're going to get into how you can declutter your mind in a minute here and why you don't have to believe all of your thoughts. But doing the work to declutter your mind is always worth it, because often we don't even realize how cluttered our mind even is, or we don't realize that some of the ruminating, the reoccurring thoughts that keep us stuck and hold us back aren't even ours. They are past conditioning ingrained in us, often from 0 to 7 years old, or just from past versions of yourself, past situations, and they aren't even things that are applicable to you anymore, but your subconscious continues to feed you them. So we're going to get into how you can declutter your mind. And some signs that you have mental clutter to deal with are that you are often overthinking, you have limiting beliefs that are holding you back, you have emotional baggage, you're feeling emotionally heavy, you're maybe experiencing anxiety. These are all signs that you have mental clutter that we need to work on cleaning out. So how can you declutter your mind? Number one, probably not a shocker, journal and reflection. So open up your journal, and on one side, you want to write down limiting beliefs that you have or thoughts that continue to come up that keep you stuck. So take some time to think about those, write those down. And then on the next side of the page, you want to write down what the version of you that you want to be would think in replacement of the limiting belief or thought that you need to let go of. And then your next step is reframing so that you can truly let go of these limiting beliefs and thought patterns that are keeping you stuck. So looking at what you just wrote down in your journal, and for each limiting belief or thought pattern that you want to replace, write down an intention that aligns with the thought that the version of you want to be would think. So this is an intention or an affirmation that you can say whenever you notice that limiting belief or thought pattern coming up. Again, say your affirmation or your intention either in your head, out loud, write it down whenever you notice a limiting belief or thought pattern coming up. And this is what's rewiring your brain to actually shed and let go of these limiting beliefs. And it's rewiring your brain to lean into thinking the way that the version of you want to be would think, replacing your limiting beliefs with empowering ones. So, number one, you are noticing and becoming aware of your limiting beliefs and thought patterns that keep you stuck. Number two, you are reframing them. Number three, you are creating an affirmation or intention. And number four is just continuing to stick to reframing that belief, because they will continue to come up, but it's more so about being aware of the fact that, number one, your thoughts are not facts and you do not have to believe them. So you're challenging your thoughts when they come up and then using your intentions or affirmations to rewire your thought patterns in real time. And then over time, from my experience, you just more naturally think in alignment with this new version of yourself. And it can take some time, but spring, this time, is a powerful time to do this work because the energy is in alignment with rebirth and renewal and letting go. Also powerful and important here to acknowledge common humanity. So a lot of the time when our brain is feeding us limiting beliefs or old thought patterns that don't serve us, old thought patterns attached to past versions of ourselves that no longer serve us, we can start to feel or believe that we are alone in this or there's something wrong with us. And I promise you, as I always say, you are never alone in how you think or feel or what you're experiencing at any given time. And that is a fact. Everyone experiences the full range of emotions. Everyone has limiting beliefs. Everyone has thought patterns that keep them stuck. Everyone has past versions of themselves, past situations maybe they aren't happy with, things that they need to work through and let go of. You are never the only one experiencing or dealing with what you're dealing with. And that can be healing to acknowledge in itself. Okay, and then for decluttering your mind at this time, you also want to be mindful of your consumption, especially right now. This world is crazy. So being mindful of and setting boundaries around your time on social media, how you're using social media, how you're taking in the news, if you're taking in the news, the conversations you're having, what is feeding your mind, what are you investing your energy on, and what energy are you allowing yourself to absorb, and what are you allowing to take up real estate in your brain. Just being mindful of that and making adjustments where you see necessary. And before we move on to decluttering the body, I want to share a personal reflection quickly, because as I'm sharing this with you all, it's also work that I'm doing in real time as well to do my own spring cleaning of the soul. And recently I had this realization that there was still a part of me that I was attaching to this past version of myself who struggled so badly, who was lost and drowning in her generalized anxiety disorder and depression. And although I obviously have evidence of the fact that I am in an entirely different state now and have been able to heal and grow, in this moment that I'm talking about, which I'll get into now, I realized that there was still a part of me that I needed to let go of being attached to the identity of myself in that version that was struggling so badly, because that is no longer the version that I am. And there's a part of me that was still attaching my identity to that version. So I saw my doctor last week for the first time since becoming Effexor free, which Effexor is my SNRI antidepressant I was on for 6.5 years. I have a full Effexor series, 3-part series I started this podcast off with, and it's been 10 months since I got off of it entirely. And I saw my doctor for the first time since that last week, and they ended up giving me the tests for generalized anxiety and depression to fill out at this appointment, which I was a little bit confused, but I thought maybe we're just doing a comparison to see the difference of where I'm at now, especially since I'm off medication. And it really hit me when I was going through this paperwork, doing these tests, and I felt like I was having deja vu, but in an entirely different state, where I immediately went back to when I was filling out these tests 7 years ago when I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder and depression. And I was in such a drastically different state, and all of my answers were on the worst end of the scale on these tests compared to filling this out now, where my doctor walked in and was like, wow, usually I see these and I am immediately very concerned, like I was 7 years ago with you. So this is a cool marker to see actually on paper your healing and growth. And it really made me realize, just sitting exactly in that same spot, filling out these same tests, but being in a drastically different state, it hit me that I still was attaching part of my identity to the version of me that was really struggling and was lost and didn't know how to heal or help herself. And that is so far from the place I'm in now, but it can be really hard for our brain to detach from past versions of ourselves. So, this is where the challenging your thoughts and the reframing of limiting beliefs is so important, because they can be really sneaky, these limiting beliefs, and you might think that you are rid of them, but then something happens where you realize that a part of them are still there. But once you become aware, we can follow the practice that I just shared and continue to work on releasing attachment to past versions of ourselves, past situations, anything that no longer serves us. Because we are allowed to grow, we are allowed to heal and change and transform. It is safe to step into the new versions of ourselves, and you just have to remind your brain of that continuously, and that's okay too. But I just want to share some personal insight into how I am utilizing this practice as well, and I'm really grateful for that experience to bring to light the fact that I still had some shedding and some releasing to do. Okay, decluttering your body. A lot of this will be tied also to your energy, but with decluttering your body, you are going to want to focus on nervous system regulation, which we talk about so much, but your energy is tied to nervous system regulation, because when your energy is stuck or stagnant or blocked, that is when you experience pains and illnesses of the mind, the body. This is when you're stuck in fight or flight or freeze state, and you want to be able to shift into rest and digest state. For every category, mind, body, energy, getting into nature, walking in nature, doing anything you can in nature at this time when things are coming back alive is going to be so healing. Oftentimes, I don't realize how much I miss nature being alive until I'm on my first springtime walk, where birds are chirping and flowers are blossoming and the lakes are unfrozen, and you just feel alive again. Even if you didn't think you were struggling, you feel more alive when the nature around you is alive, and this is healthy for your body, your mind, your energy, every aspect of your life. Getting into nature as much as you can is going to be huge when nature is coming back alive and awakening. I always find that I become more inclined to move my body approaching spring equinox, springtime. Again, I think this is just living in alignment with the natural rhythms of nature and of ourselves. It doesn't have to be rigorous exercise, especially when you are looking to declutter your body and give yourself that nervous system reset. mindful movement like dancing, walking, yoga, Pilates, stretching, somatic movement like jumping up and down, shaking your body. I quite literally jump up and down and shake my limbs around and do a spinal twist where you're standing feet hip width apart and then make your arms loose and then just twist your body back and forth so your arms are swinging and kind of like slapping your front and back. It's hard to describe without a visual. Especially being someone who works sitting down, I will take breaks, whether I'm in office or not, to get up and shake my body around and move my energy, because it's not only good for your energy, it's good for your body. We are meant to be moving around much more than we are able to in this world for the most part. So, move your body, do nervous system regulation. Other ways of doing that don't involve movement are self-massage, massaging your neck, your chest, your feet, your hands, your ears, giving yourself self-hugs, and then doing taps on your shoulder with each hand while also looking from side to side. This involves bilateral stimulation, which activates your nervous system. You can do dry brushing to help release dead skin and revitalize your skin as well as your energy. Prioritize hydration and rest, because although this is the time when we are awakening and blossoming and we will likely feel more energized, you don't want to burn out by not prioritizing rest and hydration. You always want to still prioritize those things so that you can have consistent progress rather than putting all your energy out there, going all in, burning out, having to hibernate and rest for however long, and then going all in again, and then burning out. You can get into that cycle really quickly, especially when we're in the natural alignment of feeling more energized. So I encourage you to prioritize your rest and hydration. And I shared today on the Ebbs and Flows Instagram one of my hydration hacks, which I've been seeing more across social media recently, and that is to put Celtic or Celtic water in your water. I genuinely still don't know which one it is. I hear people say it both ways. So Celtic, Celtic salt in your water, a generous pinch in the morning, in the evening, stir it up, drink that, and that will help you to get your electrolytes in, your minerals in, magnesium, calcium, potassium in your water, because we know now that you need electrolytes with your water. You can't just drink a bunch of water and expect to be getting hydrated, but maybe you don't want to spend a bunch of money on electrolyte powders or drinks. So, Celtic salt. I swear by it. And it's really funny now. One of my girlfriends also, well, she actually gifted me the Celtic salt. And we had a girls' trip visiting her, and it was a running joke of like, okay, we're getting home after a day or an evening of having some drinks, and our lives are depending on this salt. So that is a hydration hack. You can also do gua sha-ing, so you are releasing stagnation in your face, you are releasing tension in your face by doing a gua sha routine, or just using your fingers and giving yourself, again, a face massage, chest massage, neck massage, foot massage, hand massage. Whatever massage you can give yourself is going to release tension and declutter your body. Okay, finally, decluttering your energy. As I said, we're talking holistic health and wellness, so really all of these practices are tied together. When you're decluttering your mind, you will feel less tense in your body. When you're less tense in your body and your mind, your energy is flowing more in alignment. So really all of these things are tied together. But here are some ways that you can declutter your energy and release what is no longer serving you as you step into this new spring season. And on Friday, March 14th, we also have a full moon lunar eclipse happening like 4 days before the spring equinox. So this is an extra powerful time to do any releasing that we need to do. And energetic clutter shows up in ways like feeling fatigued, feeling extra tired or drained or heavy in your body or emotionally. The feeling of stagnant, heavy, blocked energy. So ways that you can cleanse and protect your energy and release the energy of all people, places, and things that no longer serve you is number one, cord cutting and setting boundaries. Now, cord cutting, there are several different cord cutting rituals you can do. You can get as spiritual as you'd like with it, or as simple as you'd like with it. You can simply visualize, close your eyes and visualize energetic cords connecting you to whatever it is that you are wanting to release, and visualize those cords being removed from your body and falling away while your energy is being renewed. So as these cords are being removed and falling away, you're visualizing whatever light feels revitalizing to you, a bright white or gold light filling up your body, renewing your energy as you are releasing the energy of whatever it is that you need to release. You can call in Archangel Michael to help you with your cord cutting. You can journal out what you are needing to release and then burn it with a fire. Anything that symbolizes release to you is cord cutting. And then most importantly, after cutting these cords, removing these cords connected to any negative, stagnant, foreign energy that is not yours to carry, that is not yours to hold, that does not serve you, is to set boundaries. Set boundaries with yourself for what you will allow yourself to give your energy to or to take energy on from. What activities will you allow yourself to engage in? What relationships will you allow yourself to engage in? How are you allowing yourself to show up in these relationships? Setting boundaries is important, or else you can find yourself needing to release certain energies or certain things that don't serve you over and over and over and over again. And that's also okay. Many times you do have to let things go and release more than once, but trying your best to set and maintain boundaries is going to be huge for living in alignment with your energy. And it can get misconstrued. Setting boundaries isn't making rules for others. It's not setting strict rules even for yourself. It's setting general guidelines for the behavior that you will allow in your life and the behavior that you will allow yourself to engage in life. So it's not telling others what they can or cannot do. It's advocating for how you're allowing yourself to show up in life. Okay, next is energy cleansing practices. This can be things like saging yourself, your home, your belongings, using Palo Santo. You can do sound healing, whether you're playing the instruments yourself or you're going on YouTube or a music platform and searching up a certain binaural beats or healing frequency, listening to sound healing, or going to a sound bath if you can get to a sound bath. Sound and the vibrations of sound are healing to our mind, our body, our energy. It's extremely powerful. I listen to healing frequencies while I sleep every single night. When I was in the thick of dealing with anxiety, I listened to binaural beats and healing frequencies. I'm not kidding, during every single thing I did. From the moment I woke up, I'd listen to it throughout my whole getting ready routine. I'd listen to it in my headphones during work as much as I could, on my drive to and from work, wherever I was going, before bed, during sleep. Sound healing is extremely powerful. You can take one of my favorite things in the world that I've talked about before, a salt bath. So using Epsom salts in a bath. And you can also put in baking soda, which can help to cleanse and stabilize your energy. And while you're in the bath, if you want to go a step further, you can listen to healing frequencies or affirmations, or you can say affirmations. Anything you're doing while you're submerged in water is more powerful immediately because you are in water. You can do energetic tapping. So there's emotional freedom tapping, where you're tapping on specific points of your body while saying certain affirmations to rewire limiting beliefs. Or you can simply take your fingertips and your fist and tap literally anywhere and everywhere all over your body. This is releasing negative, stagnant, blocked energy. I just take my fist like I'm Tarzan and tap everywhere, my arms, my legs, my butt, my stomach, my chest, my shoulders, everything. And I notice a difference for sure. It's loosening up blocked, stagnant energy and releasing tension. And of course, I have to mention Reiki as a Reiki master for animals and humans. So you can, if you're Reiki certified, do a self Reiki practice, or you can have a Reiki practitioner or master do a Reiki channeling session on you, whether in person or distance. On that note, you can book your distance Reiki session with me directly on the Ebbs Flows website, which is always linked in the show notes below, for yourself or your animal if you feel called. And I'm also releasing new moon and full moon meditations on YouTube and podcast platforms. So I'll have one for this upcoming full moon lunar eclipse coming out this week as well. Meditation is always a powerful practice to use when it comes to letting go and aligning with our desires, our goals, our dreams, our visions. And finally, the spring cleaning that we have always heard of. Spring cleaning your belongings, your home, your car, getting rid of any material items that don't align with you anymore, that you haven't used in a long time, that are attached to past versions of you, past situations that you want to release. Releasing material items is a powerful energetic practice as well. You will always feel more fresh and renewed when your space feels fresh and renewed. So I encourage you to do that as well. I am someone who historically has a hard time getting rid of things, wondering if I'm ever going to need them or want them ever again. And again, since being on my holistic healing journey, it has become much easier for me to let go of things and get rid of things, learning about the energetic weight that things hold and clutter holds. So, decluttering not only yourself, but your space as well. And then, once we are done all of this decluttering, of course, as we're moving into this new season or this new year, however you look at it, with Spring Equinox, you want to ask yourself, what do you want this new season to bring? Visualize what it is that you want and act in alignment with that version of yourself, taking intentional action consistently at this time. This springtime energy is going to assist us in taking consistent, intentional action with the version of ourselves that we desire to be, which can feel like more of a struggle throughout the winter months. Okay, let's do a little recap. So, spring cleaning is not a cliche, is necessary to let go and be open to renewal. Springtime is the true mark of a new year historically and naturally and energetically. And spring cleaning does not only apply to our space and our belongings, it also applies to our mind, our body, our energy. When we intentionally declutter all of the above, we are able to live in alignment with ourselves and step into our power, letting go of anything that does not serve us. So, as we close this episode, I invite you to think to yourself, what's one thing that you can release at this time to make space for something new? You can use these journaling prompts. What am I ready to let go of, and what am I calling in, and how can I make space for it? I hope that you found something in this episode interesting or empowering to you at this time. I personally am so thrilled for spring season to be upon us, and the energy of this time can be a little bit chaotic with everything going on astrologically. The full moon, the lunar eclipse, spring equinox, there's a few planets in retrograde. There's a lot going on in the energy, but just know that there is nothing to fear. You are always in the driver's seat of how you experience life, and the energy of springtime is really supportive in us stepping into alignment to live our most fulfilling, empowering lives. So I'm wishing you all the best, sending a lot of love and gratitude. I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye!